Okay, so this month's chapter of Attack on Titan, chapter 91, was confusing as shit. I mean, seriously, after reading the first 5 pages, I had to stop and go back because I honestly thought I missed a chapter. I honestly thought that I either A, missed the last month's chapter, or B, this month had a double release and I had just skipped over the first one. Because this chapter made no sense. Last month's chapter, chapter 90, it ended right with the 1 year time skip. The main cast, Eren, Mikasa, Armin, the rest of the crew, all getting outside of Wall Maria and making it to the ocean. And then this month's chapter picks up with people of Marley out of nowhere in the middle of a war with no explanation of what's going on, who they're fighting, or when this is even taking place. Now, don't get me wrong, I like the fact that we're focusing on the people of Marley. It's great because they're the main villains of this manga series, and if you don't spend time giving screen time to the main villains, fleshing out their ideals, their motivations, giving them chances to grow and develop as characters, then you end up with one-dimensional characters, one-dimensional villains who no one gives a shit about. You never find out what their motivations or what their plans are, and you end up with just bad villains. And if we're being truthful, a villain is what makes a manga series or any type of story. Sure, the hero is the one you're rooting for, but if it wasn't for the villain, the story just wouldn't have any plot. The story would just go nowhere, and that's just kind of boring. Okay, so this chapter focuses on some cadets of the Kingdom of Marley fighting in what I thought was at first a civil war taking place in the past, but now I'm guessing is a present day invasion that they're doing on some other country's land, trying to take their, I guess, resources. I don't know. That's my problem with this chapter. They don't really take the time to explain to you what's going on, when this is taking place, who they're fighting, or where they're even at. In fact, it wasn't until like maybe 14 or 15 pages into this chapter that I realized, oh, this is present day. And that's only because they mentioned the fact that they lost the power of the colossal and female Titan, and that these cadets are actually trying to prove themselves. They're on the front line, proving themselves worthy of taking on the mantle of the armored Titan. Because I guess after Rainer's last mission from the last arc, he's not worthy of being the Titan anymore. I guess he has to pass on that power. Even though when we see him in this chapter, which by the way, he actually looks kind of boss, he looks like he's like a military commander now, like some kind of like captain or general of his own army. So if he's that far up the ranks, which they don't, confirm or anything, it's just from the looks of him, like with his beard and everything, he looks like he's like in charge of his own forces right now. I guess they're just gonna get rid of him, but that doesn't make any sense if he is in charge of these people. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait until we see him later on in this arc if we continue to focus on these people. Now, one important thing we did find out in this chapter, despite how fucking confusing it was, we find out that these cadets are actually people of Ymir. I know they're called like Eldians or something like that. I really can't really pronounce what they're called, so I just call them the people of Ymir. But yeah, we find out they're people of Ymir, and we also find out that they've been indoctrined to think that Eren's people on the island are actually evil, and that's the reason why they help the people of Marley out. That's the reason why they join the military and are actually trying to fight alongside them, because they actually think that the people of Marley or the people on Eren on the island are actually evil, and they're trying to regain their honor or like regain the like namesake of the people of Ymir, like try to bring grace back to their names, and hopefully gain their independence or gain their like acceptance to the people of Marley. And this actually explains a lot about Rainer and Bertolt, especially Rainer with his mental condition, because after living for years with the people on the island, he probably realized that yeah, they're not actually evil. What they've been taught isn't right. So he had that internal struggle of, all right, do I go for what I've learned now that I've lived on this island for years or most of my life, protect the friends that I've made here, or do I complete my mission and fight for my homeland? And he had an internal struggle, which probably is the reason why he started going crazy and started to, forgetting the fact that he was actually on a mission there to invade and to make it easier for his people to come in there and take over. It was actually kind of interesting seeing how devoted these kids or these cadets actually were to the cause, because there was this one character, this girl named Gabby, who was so devoted to like proving herself worthy of being the successor to the Armor Titan that she basically went on a suicide run. She basically offered herself up over the lives of 800 people, said basically, hey, instead of sending your army out there or your soldiers out there to die, how about you let me try out my plan real quick? And if it doesn't work, you only lose one smart soldier over the 800 useful ones that you have. And their commander was like, you know what? Fuck it, fine, let's see what you got. So he sent her out there, and she had put together this like basically ragtag bomb stick, like this giant stick of dynamite, just like this giant pile of dynamite, and was dragging it by her feet, pretending to be a civilian caught in the crossfire. tricking the people into letting her get close enough that where she could actually throw it into the army or onto the track, the railroad track, where they had this like armored train coming out that would actually kill Titans in one hit. She was able to blow it up using that, and then when she was running away, got saved by what looked like the Beast Titan. I'm not sure if it actually was the Beast Titan or not. It might have been a different Titan. I had to go back and check, but that was actually pretty ballsy, and the fact that she was able to do that shows how devoted this character is. And that, like I said, that gives the character depth and the character development to the villains that we desperately need in this manga, because we really don't know shit about the villains. We know basically everything we know from them from flashbacks. We don't see what they're going on in current day. We don't see like what are Titans, because we only know about like a few handful of Titans. There's supposed to be 9. We have 2 on our side. We have Annie still locked up, and we've seen, I think, maybe 3 of the enemy Titans. So what does that lead up? 6? We still have 3 other Titans that we haven't still seen, unless this Titan that we saw in this chapter was a new one. So this actually, hopefully within this arc, we actually will see the remaining 3 Titans, because from what I understand, this manga is actually coming to a close pretty soon. So I guess they're gonna have to reveal the last 3 Titans pretty soon, or pretty, like, it has to be coming up. It's kind of weird that it focused so heavily on this kid Falco, even though we didn't really get any development from him. He barely had any lines, and the only thing he really did in this chapter was get dragged into the gutter or get it dragged into the ditch that they were hiding in, and then at the end of the chapter try to jump out and save Gabby when she was about to be shot. Other than that, he didn't really do anything. He didn't really contribute anything to the chapter. Although I think since we focused so heavily on him and they try to show how badass and how capable Gabby is, I think it's going to come down between the 2 of them when it comes to passing on the armor time power. And it's going to be Falco who ends up getting it for some reason. And then I think just because the character seems like he's such a nice kid and such like he cares about his people so much and cares about saving lives so much, I think he might end up switching over and we'll have the power of the armored Colossal and Aaron's time power on our team. And then maybe Annie, I don't know. We'll see what happens later on in this manga. But that's it for the review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, drop me a like, subscribe to the channel. I'd greatly appreciate it. Comment down below with your thoughts on the chapter, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.